Thank you for joining us for our Spotlight On series. Today we're talking with Sarah Afework at IACT Health, and we're going to talk about patient recruitment in these unprecedented times with COVID-19. I know we had the Spanish influenza about 100 years ago, but I don't think many of us lived through that one, so this is all new to us. But Sarah, I want to first thank you so much for taking the time to join us and give us a little bit of your background in the clinical trial landscape.
Well, it still feels so new to me, but when I think about it, it's been about 6 years that I've been in clinical research at the site level. I've been with IACT Health the entire time. I came to them actually looking for a residency. I got my undergrad in computer science and my medical degree from Xavier University School of Medicine, and the two just were a perfect match for working in research and recruitment. I had the medical knowledge to understand what was going on in these protocols and know what we were looking for with the patients, and the technology, which is so important now with sourcing EMRs and understanding what the physicians are writing and how to explain it to the patients.
And I've had the chance to work with Jeff Kingsley and Christine Sen so often. They're both so great. You guys have such a great organization over there. All right, let's just jump in. Let me ask you the $64,000 question here. As of this moment, how has COVID-19 impacted patient recruitment in your experience?
It has impacted it quite a lot from the very beginning. And I mean, numbers wise, at this point, I'd say that we're looking at less than 50% of the studies that we had before that are open to enrollment. So many were put on hold. So that just really impacted what we're doing just from that kind of aspect. The ones that are still recruiting and the ones that are still ongoing with their pre-study work, we've made some changes in our tactics. What we used to do, or what our goal was always, was to be able to bring that patient into our site to show them and what research could be like and have them feel the personalization, the customer service that they would get. Mm-hmm. So our phone screenings would be very gentle. It would just kind of be engaging them and bring them on in to really feel what we were about. And that just isn't possible anymore. So there's been a lot of scripting changes and process change for a lot more phone pre-screening happenings with the coordinators directly, a lot more work happening before that patient even wants to come into the office.
And this is a broad question, but how are patients reacting and how are they rolling with this?
I was surprised. I thought it was going to be really difficult, and what was interesting to find was that people are actually more receptive. Definitely they're answering their phones a lot more. They don't have as much to do than answer the phone.
And they're more interested in trials and more aware of them, I guess.
That is true. There's not as much of a hurdle to overcome anymore. People are hearing about it, and they're asking us about studies that we don't even have because they're reading about them in the news. Oh, do you have one of those studies? We're like, well, we're hoping to get that. And they're willing to listen more. And actually, the whole idea of keeping it remote, keeping it phone-based, we find that patients are more willing to participate. Like I said, I was anticipating that it was going to be more difficult, and I'm actually seeing an increase in participation from patients at the front end.
That's encouraging. I've been hearing that a lot myself, not all the time, but more than I would have expected. But I wondered, what do you think these kind of changes are going to impact us as an industry permanently? I mean, I'm thinking of when 9/11 occurred, and some things have never really returned to the way they were, but most things have in a way. There's a time period there where people were more vigilant or concerned or a little more wary. And of course, you have people in their 20s today who weren't even alive when 9/11 happened. So it doesn't impact everything for everybody forever. But that said, how big an impact, how permanent an impact do you think this pandemic is going to have on the trial landscape?
I actually think that, and it's funny, not funny, but I've been thinking about this a lot even before discussing with you. I really think it's going to have a pretty permanent impact. Mm-hmm. I think as an industry, we were slowly moving towards virtual trials, more slowly moving towards e-source. We're an industry that likes our paper. And so it hasn't been a full concentrated effort. And I think that this situation has made everyone focus like a laser beam on, we need to all together work on creating new processes that we can all do at the same time from at every level. And I think that we're going to see a lot of protocols written with virtual visits as the baseline, and that almost optional in on-site in-person visits too, a lot more coordinating with third-party sources who are doing the phlebotomy, and they're seeing their actual physician, but we're doing the visit virtually. I think it's going to impact us so much, and just bring us a lot faster forward to where we were already going.
Kind of a catalyst in a sense.
Yes.
This is sort of another $64,000 question, and if you could answer this one, you'd probably be a wealthy woman, but I'm going to put you on the spot anyway. Obviously, when people talk about the clinical trial landscape and how this COVID is impacting clinical trials, it's a national issue, but it's also, of course, a regional issue and very localized. What's your thought on how our industry is going to climb back out of this, and when will non-COVID trials that had been suspended begin to resume, do you think?
I think from what I've been seeing in just the past few days, I feel like we are at the beginning of it. Mm-hmm. I think it's coinciding a lot with the states reopening, and that's literally happening all around now, May 1st, some of the baby steps. But I have in the past few days had 3 studies that have removed their holds. So
really, okay,
seeing that, and that's where I feel hopeful. And some of our elective procedures are which were prior to canceled, so we couldn't, even though there was no sponsor hold, there was essentially a procedural hold of what we could do because we couldn't complete all the study procedures. They are now being tentatively scheduled in May.
And I should know, we're speaking May 1st, 2020, so just to give some timetable. And I wonder, you've had the 3 that have been brought back, which is exciting to hear. Is that partially because you're in Georgia and being a regional issue, and Georgia is one of the states that's being more aggressive in reopening, for want of a better term?
I am not sure, because the sponsors aren't in Georgia, and I feel that they wouldn't be making their decisions necessarily regionally. Part of it is regional. I mean, if they've had a hold for so long, so if they have states where the common practice is to open, that could be one of the reasons why we're seeing it. We have IACT Health has sites in Virginia as well, and I'm trying to think. No, it's been the Georgia sites that I've seen open.
Right. Okay. All right. Which kind of makes some sense. Great. Okay. Hey, well, I really, really appreciate your time. I know you're busy and scrambling around, but we're all just trying to do our best here and share information and share best practices. I guess I'll ask you if you have any final words of encouragement or inspiration for your peers out there struggling through this, again, unprecedented time.
Is just keep the lines of communication open. Even though things feel that they're coming to a halt, don't react that way. Just keep going as if it's going to open tomorrow, because it's all about getting that. On my end, it's all about the patient engagement, and now we have all the time to focus more on it because there's not as much that usually takes away some of the attention. So patients are primed to hear about it more. They're more willing, and so take advantage of this time. It's really a heyday for clinical research, I think. People know so much more now that we were fighting to make them understand.
We've been speaking here with Dr. Sarah Afework at IACT Health. This has been ACRP TV Spotlight On. My name is Michael Causey. I'm the editor-in-chief. Thank you again so much for joining us, Dr. Afework. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Michael, for having me. I've really appreciated it.